Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the Albanian elections. On April 25th, last Sunday, 3.5 million Albanians were called to vote for the new parliamentary elections. It was the 11th election since the democratic transition of the country, and the campaign was characterized by harsh polemics and political mistrust. But despite the presence of several parties and even independent candidates, as usual, the game was principally played by the two main parties, the Socialist and the Democratic parties. The elections saw the confirmation of an historical third mandate, the first since 1991, for the incumbent Prime Minister Edi Rama and his Socialist Party. Edi Rama has been the Prime Minister of Albania since his first mandate in 2013, when he came into power leading a left-wing coalition. While he has ruled practically alone since his second mandate in 2017, when the main opposition party, the National Conservative and Democratic Party of Lulzim Basha, refused the result of the election, accusing Rama of electoral fraud and resigned all his seats in the parliament. The Democratic Party of Basha also boycotted the administrative election of last June. But this time, during this national election, Basha tried to strengthen his position by making an alliance with other 12 parties with the objective to make a coalition after the election. Nevertheless, it is clear that it was not enough, and now some members of the Democratic Party are calling for him to resign from the role after 8 years of defeat. The country is coming from 2 years characterized by a terrible earthquake in November 2019, which left more than 30,000 people homeless, as well as the pandemic that hit the already fragile country's economy, based in great part on tourism. Another element to stress was the postponement of the EU accession talks due to the French veto. Albania has indeed been a candidate country since 2014, but accession talks were opened only at the beginning of 2020. These were the first elections after the electoral reform of June 2020, possible thanks to the creation of a new cross-party mechanism suggested by the international actors. The so-called political council could help the Albanian parties to come together and negotiate, as it happened in this case. The proportional electoral system has a threshold of only one person for parties, and pre-election coalitions are prohibited. This actually makes the system more representative of the opinions of the electorate than the average European state. The most innovative elements of this reform were the introduction of the preferential vote for specific candidates in the list and a gender quota of 30% female candidates. This last aspect was actually effective. There were more women running this time than ever before. On the other hand, the effectiveness of the preferential vote remains dubious, because regardless of your first choice, it is still up to the party leader to decide the order of the candidate list. So in the end, you can actually pick your favorite one, but you don't know if this person will ever come closer to get into the parliament. 3.5 million Albanians were called to vote, but the turnout, as usual, was around 38%. The total number includes also members of the Albanian diaspora who, as myself, were not allowed to vote from abroad and due to the pandemic were not able to come back to express their vote. Even occasional Albanians workers from Greece could not come back without having to deal with 2 weeks of obligatory quarantine. This created a strong dispute among the members of diaspora who found themselves excluded from the elections. Nevertheless, the outgoing government had a diaspora minister who could have dealt with these problems in due time. Not to mention people in quarantine who were not allowed to vote. In this way, more than 20,000 of people were automatically excluded by the elections. Another important element was the diminished presence of younger candidates. Given that most of them continue to leave the country seeking better economic conditions and opportunities, the absence of younger generation from the political quarrel remains an issue. As shown by the Albanian Statistical Institute in 2015, more than 80% among them do not feel represented by the government. International observers such as OSCE reported allegation of vote buying by political parties as a persistent feature of these elections. This is not something new in Albania, and it's not limited to one party but affects the whole political spectrum. During the campaign, a popular online hashtag among Albanians was in fact "Mos e shit voten", do not sell the vote, as lots of people receive economic help in exchange for their promise to vote for a certain party. Generally, the campaign saw the defeat of the Socialist Movement for Integration, who lost half of the votes received in the previous elections. The party was founded by Ilir Meta, but has been run by his wife, Monica Kriemadi, since Meta became the president of the country. His behavior during the electoral campaign was unorthodox. In a parliamentary republic as Albania, the president is the head of the state, who, representing the whole country, should not intervene directly in political discussions nor competition. Yet during the campaign he was practically and publicly promoting opposition parties, particularly the one led by his wife, clearly violating his non-political role such as foreseen in the constitution. In the end, he accepted the result of the elections, but he has still not resigned from the role as he promised at the beginning of March if Rama's party would have get more than 71 seats in the parliament, as it actually happened. Finally, the quality of media coverage was particularly problematic. There was a substantial absence of independent and objective coverage. There was no open debate between different political candidates, while parties kept diffusing footage from campaign events to target media. It really felt like a political theater, with lots of drama and sexist comments. Both the Socialist Party and Democratic Party dominated the public scene, while little emerged from other political parties. In the end, the Socialist Party was more able to create a social media interaction than its direct competitor, even though there were claims of trolls and fake accounts used to generate more engagement. Female candidates were scarcely present in the media. Again, the campaign was more focused on political figures rather than party programs. Interestingly, Rama was less aggressive towards journalists, and while participating in TV shows, he often made jokes to gain the sympathy of the public. This was paralleled by an acceleration of the vaccination campaign and the promotion of huge infrastructural projects promised for the third mandate. As expected, during the campaign, the ruling party gained more visibility. In his victory discourse in Skanderbeg Square, Edi Rama appealed to all Albanians after a highly polarized campaign. Indeed, the electoral result portrayed a country divided in two, with the Democratic Party dominating the northern region and the Socialists the center-southern one. Rama said, "I was born Albanian, not a socialist, and for me, the Democrats are first the Albanians and only then the Democrats," adding that politics has divided us, but politics can also unite us all. He said that he is willing to cooperate with the Democratic Party and that Lulzim Basha should acknowledge the defeat with dignity. Still, with or without Basha, he will continue to consider the Democratic Party as his only real opposition. I'm Understanding Politics. Thank you for watching.